of its robustness and ability to handle high dimensional data, we fine-tune the hyperparameters for the analysis to achieve the optimal species level classifications, and we keep number of trees 50 and a certain random state to achieve the similar results when we run the models repeatedly. So after the mapping of the tree species is completed, we proceed to economic valuation of the tree species. Here we use the formula carbon stock price and into equal to area into carbon stock coefficients and price per ton carbon. We collected carbon stock coefficients and price per ton of carbon from extensive literature review. So for the model validation part, we use root mean square error, RMSE, and ground truth index to check the accuracy of model and to find that our results is reliable for further spatial and economic analysis. So moving on to the results, the classification revealed that Sundari trees dominates 25.11% of the area, largely due to its in the saline tidal environments. Also, Sundari Gewa and Gewa Goran and Goran Gewa occupy substantial regions due to the, especially in the moderate to high saline areas. So here in this map, we can see the economic valuation of the mangrove species in the Sundarbans. Especially, we can see here in the top right side, there is the high economic valuation in the top right side because Sundari trees dominates this area. Especially Sundari trees have high carbon content, and our valuation table especially breakdowns the monetary contributions of each mangrove species in the economic valuations. So here Sundari, Gewa Goran and Goran Gewa comprises most of the areas and the economic valuation. So further we analyze the tree species distributions across salinity zones. Here we can see salinity tolerant species like Gewa Goran are in the high salinity zones, and Sundari comprises in the low salinity zones, special areas. Here in this composite map, we can see the side-by-side comparisons of tree species dominance and their respective economic valuations. So, in figure C, we can see that there is a dominance of Gewa Goran, but the respective maps shows that low economic value because Gewa Goran comprises of low carbon content, and we can see there is a Sundarban in the top right side due to freshwater influence, and it has high carbon content and high economic values. So to check the model performance, we use two matrices, root mean square error RMSE and ground JTI. Here we found in our analysis RMSE is 0.71. It indicates that the average deviations among average deviations between a predicted class and actual class in training testing data. So RMSE value less than 1 indicates a good performance in classification analysis. Here 0.71 value indicates a strong performance and a relatively low classification error. Moving to ground truth index JTI, we achieve 87.5%. 87.5% means 87.5% of the classified pixels match the actual records when we actual species records in the field survey when collected in the field survey. So 87 JTI value more than 85 is considered a very good score in ecological studies. So moving to planning implications, first of all, this research offers a species level distribution map which we can use for a very good conservation studies in the Sundarban mangrove forest. Then it also links sustainable development goals because it provides insight on ecological insights and economic valuations. Also, it supports data-driven decisions for a successful, for designing a effective conservation strategies and climate adaptations. Lastly, it provides a spatial baseline for further monitoring and impact assessment analysis. So here are the references we considered for this presentation. To conclude, this integrated approach, this integrated approach with machine learning and satellite and field data provides us ecological insights and economic valuation, basically strengthening the smarter and data-informed conservation strategies for Sundarban mangrove forest. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mafrid Haidar, for your important topics presented today. Dearest audience, I would like to let you know that our plan is to take questions after having all the presentations done today. So please take note of your questions so that you can again ask them at the end of the presentations. At this stage, I would like to invite Yasin Ahmed, Ankita Sharkar, Anutosh Das, and Sumita Roy to present their paper, Assessment of Internal Migration Scenario in Bangladesh and its Functional Determinants and Causes, a Regionalization Approach. Let's welcome Yasin Ahmed and his team.
Good noon, everyone. So here I am presenting assessment of internal migration scenario in Bangladesh and its functional determinants and causes, regionalization approach. So the causes of internal migration are usually explained by two broad categories, that is pull and push factor, which includes poverty, employment opportunities, education facilities, etc. According to the Bangladesh Population and Housing Census 2011, 53.1% of the internal migration in Bangladesh was rural to urban and urban to urban. So our study assesses the internal migration pattern in Bangladesh by regionalization approach, which are formal and functional. So internal migration has significant implications for the socio-economic development, and unfortunately there is a lack of comprehensive understanding. So our objective is to find out the internal migration pattern in Bangladesh by formal regional delineation based on various factors and to assess the determinant causes of internal migration by functional interdependency. So the methodology follows. Formal regionalization includes composite weight index on 6 factors, that are natural calamities, occupational purpose, cause of family, cause of service, willingness, and others. And for functional, we use retail gravitational theory using GIS and population data. So from formal regionalization approach, we can see that high pattern of internal migration occurs in Borishal, Bhola, Bogura, Sirajganj, Tangail, Jhinaidah, Gaibandha, Netrokona, Sunamganj, and highest pattern of formal regionalization occurs in Potuakhali. As it is a low-lying land and open to Bay of Bengal and Meghna River, it occurs flood and tidal surge. So as a result, people tend to move for migration. Here we can see that identification of areas with influence of functional gap analysis, where we can see that Bogura and Sirajganj with Kumarkhanda and Boshail has the lowest population data, and in Upojela, Kumarkhanda and Thupchachia has the lowest Upojela area. But in influence sector, we can see that Bogura Shodor and Tangail Shodor has the highest influence. Here is the comparison between geographical area and influence area. Here we can see that Bogura Shodor has found the highest internal migration, where Gaptali has the lowest. As Bogura is economically more progressed with the highest number of governmental jobs, long of growth sector and others, whereas Gaptali has the lowest. And same for the Tangail Shodor. And here in the Kajipur region, we can see that it faces river erosion to great extent. As a result, people tend to move. So finally, we can say that there appears greater portion of influential regions than unserved regions. Tangail appears to be the hub for industrial activity. Bogura provides excellent health, education and job security, whilst Sirajganj having a large portion of agriculture, production and others. So finally, we can conclude that by formal regionalization, it determines impactful areas from very low to very high migration. It mainly are the pull factors, which is urbanization. It allows more job opportunities and facilities. And from functional regionalization, we find that Sirajganj, Tangail and Bogura has higher interdependency. Bogura has high tendency with modernized and urbanized job opportunities, and this study recommends proper utilization of resources in low-lying lands and lower migratory regions and preparatory steps for natural calamities. Here are the references. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your nice presentation. Now I would like to invite Abdullah Al-Saqib, Mehdi Hassan, Afrida Jamal, Prova, Nuha Islam, Ishrat Islam, Deepita Hossain and Sayeda Laizu Akhtar to present Heritage Conservation in Narayanganj, a strategic approach for conserving and promoting heritage sites.
Good afternoon everyone. I am Abdullah Saqib from Department of Urban and Regional Planning, BUET. Today I am here to present our paper titled Heritage Conservation in Narayanganj, a strategic approach for conserving heritage sites. At first, a question might pop up in our head that what is heritage? Heritage includes natural and cultural resources passed across generations with and preserving history and identity. A heritage site is a location or an area filled with historical and cultural importance. And why we need to conserve our heritage sites? Because they foster community pride and identity, and they help address the climate change by preserving biodiversity and help attaining SDG 11.4. And the two main objectives of our paper was first to analyze the physical condition of 5 heritage sites in Narayanganj and their 250-meter demarcated area and assess them against the DIPE guidelines for heritage conservation. And lastly, to propose a series of planning proposals for conserving the heritage sites. At first, we should look at the DEP guidelines for heritage conservation. Raju has delineated 74 heritage sites across the DMR region and has provided some guidelines to preserve them. At first, demarcation of 250-meter buffer area around the sites and some heights and building related restrictions around different distance of buffer zones. Then orange B and red category industries are strictly prohibited within the buffer zone. And lastly, Raju has emphasized on promoting transfer of development rights and conserving the heritage cityscape. The methodology of our paper is that we first developed our concept from analyzing various documents from ICOMOS, UNESCO, then reviewed our secondary data source and detailed study about the DEP guidelines of heritage conservation. We then studied various literatures and policy papers of home and abroad related to the studies. Then we conducted some field visits to collect the data, and this data were further analyzed and assessed against the DEP, and some policy was policy was proposed for conservation of the sites. And our main source of the data was detailed area plan by Rajuk, Minbasi 2020, and we used land use mapping SWOT analysis in our paper. The 5 sites, the first site of our paper was Bibi Moriam Tomb, the second site was the Hajiganj Fort, third site was the Kadam Rasul Dargah, fourth site was the Bandar Shahi Mosque, and last site was the Shonakanda Fort.
Now we'll see the comparative assessment of the physical context of heritage site. Firstly, for Bibi Moriam tomb, the current condition of the tomb is closed and the outer wall is preserved. There is a high school and a mosque adjacent to the structure. Lack of maintenance and illegal uses are the main threats of the site. Then Kadam Rasul Dargah is in under construction, but the aesthetic original aesthetics is not maintained yet. Then Bandar Shahi Mosque is also closed. The outer wall is damaged, and both of the fort, the Shonakanda Fort and Hajiganj Fort, are well preserved, but the management is very poor. In result and discussion, first we will see the land use and the depth violation of the structure. For Bibi Moriam tomb, the within 20-meter buffer, the prominent land use is educational and community facilities, where all the 4 structures are violated the depth guidelines. Within 250 meter, 42 restricted industries are present. Our next site is Hajiganj Fort, where the adjacent area is open space, and there are 34 restricted industries around 250 meter. Then Kadam Rasul Dargah, the prominent land use is residential. 17 restricted industries are present. Then for Bandar Shahi Mosque, the prominent land use is mixed use. 7 orange B category are present. For Shonakanda Fort, the prominent land use is open space within 10 meter, within 40 meter it's residential, and 250 meter is industrial.
From our depth violation analysis, we can see that from our depth violation analysis represented in the first bar chart, it is evident that Shonakanda Fort has the highest number of violation within the 10 to 20 meter buffer zone, and within 250 meter buffer zone, Bibi Moriam tomb has the highest number of violations. In the second bar chart analysis, we can see that the highest number of restricted structures is in Shonakanda Fort, and most of the structures are Paka structures. From our SWOT analysis, we want to see the potential of our each 5 sites. So a common strength of the 5 sites is their architectural uniqueness and historical significance. The main weakness of the 5 sites is the lack of budgeting and unplanned development. In terms of opportunity, each site has tourism value. The most critical threat include political interference and lack of stakeholder participation. Then we try to suggest some general policy recommendation based on repairing, conservation and maintenance. First one is engaging local communities in conservation efforts through training and awareness. Secondly, ensuring proper budget allocation. Lastly, formulating a detailed and integrated plan. Then let us come to our site-specific policy suggestion.
And first of all, we will see the policy recommendations for site-specific. First site is Bibi Moriam tomb, and we recommend to change the tone and texture of the mosque that will be homogeneous with the heritage site. Then second recommendation will be conserving the whole site and beautification. Then on second site is Haziganj Fort. We recommend to evict the restricted industries and structures and compensate the owners with TDR. Here TDR calculation is given here. Then change the zoning regulations to mixed-use development around the site. Then adaptive use should be applied here with minimal instruments and so that users can learn about the history of the fort and medieval Bengal. Then our third site is Kodam Rasul Dorga. We recommend to repair the structures of the Dorga and following the original color, texture and materials. Then secondly, we'll preserve the streetscapes around the Dorga. Then third recommendation will be to improve the capacity of the road and one-way pedestrian movement. Then Bandar Shahi Mosque integrate the whole mosque and madrasa to establish an Islamic center. Change the color and texture of the new mosque and madrasa to original mosque. And the third recommendation will be to evict the semi-pucha structures and compensate owners with TDR. Then lastly, for Shunakanda Fort, eviction of unauthorized development should be done according to TDR. And zoning regulation should be implemented ensuring mixed-use development. And protection of the fort will recommend to adapt reuse and promote local industries like local tabla industries. So from our key findings, we can say that heritage conservation is not just conserving a site or a building, rather it's the process of conserving communities' emotion, identities. So keeping all this in mind, we should integratedly plan for this site. Next slide. So that was all from our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's welcome our fourth presentation today. Ecosystem service evolution in response to land cover changes in the Sundarbans. So in the Sundarbans mangrove region, a 3-decadal perspective on ecosystem service dynamics, authored by Arif Saleh Mahmood Mahi, Tanmoy Kumar S. and Shojib Sharkar. Let's get started. Arif Saleh and his team.
Hello everyone, my name is Arif Saleh Mahmood Mahi. I would like to present our work on land cover change and ecosystem service trends in Sundarbans mangrove. Sundarbans is the world's largest mangrove forest spanning from Bangladesh and India. The recent LLC change threatens service in Sundarbans. This study maps LLC change and evaluates ecosystem service impacts. We hope our findings will guide sustainable planning and policy for this region. The aim of our study was to assess the impact of land use and land cover change on ecosystem service value from 1995 to 2025. The objectives were to analyze LOC change in Sundarbans, to estimate and track ESV change, to explore the link between LOC change and ESV dynamics. Our study area's geographic location spans from the coastal region of southern Bangladesh and eastern India. It spans from 21 degree 27 minute north to 22.5 degree north latitude and 88 degree east to 90 degree longitude. Sundarban has a tropical monsoon climate with hot and humid summer with heavy rainfall. We use data from Landsat 5 for 1995 and 2010, and Landsat 9 for 2025. The imagery was preprocessed to level 1 terrain corrected standards with less than 5% cloud cover. The supervillaince classification was performed using maximum likelihood method. We divided our land use into 4 major classes, including dense vegetation, sparse vegetation, barren land, and water bodies. We use 300 random validation point for accuracy assessment. The overall accuracy for 1995, 2010, and 2025 was 78%, 80%, and 82% respectively. Here you can see the formulas used in our study. The F and I represents final years and initial years respectively. The area was calculated in hectare, and valuation was calculated in US dollar per hectare per year. On this slide, you can see 10 major services we worked on. We divided our services into 4 major functions: regulating, supporting, provising, and cultural. The ESV was estimated using a benefit transfer method proposed by Robert Costanza. In this slide, you can see the land use maps for 1995, 2010, and 2025. The blue areas represent water bodies, the yellow represents barren land, and the green vegetation. The darker ones are dense vegetation, and the lighter ones are sparse vegetation. In 1995, sparse vegetation, dense vegetation, and water bodies were at around 30%. From 1995 to 2010, dense vegetation increased by 40%, but sparse vegetation declined. In 2025, dense vegetation kept increasing, but also the sparse vegetation kept declining, resulting in 18% at the end. The water bodies remained stable throughout, but saw a slight increase at the end of our study. Barren land decreased sharply to around 50%. On this slide, you can see the ecosystem service values for different services. The provisional services saw greatest decline at 877 million. The regulating service was the dominant one throughout the whole study period. Supporting services increased by 767 million. The cultural service saw a decline from 1995 to 2025. Dense vegetation increased throughout the study period, but sparse vegetation declined, which resulted in a ASB growth, but due to the large sparse vegetation decline, the total ASB remained declined throughout the period. Barren land had no contribution to ASB. LOC changes significantly impacted ecosystem services over the past 3 decades. Expansion of dense vegetation slightly improved ESB, as I said, and due to the 45% loss in sparse vegetation, the overall ESB declined. The degradation of sparse vegetation reduced biodiversity, disrupted mangrove regeneration, and weakened ecosystem functions. Declines in provisioning services threatened livelihoods and increased vulnerability to the adjacent rural community. The reduction of cultural services reflects the loss of connection between people and landscape. The major LLC changes led to a net decline in ESV, as already mentioned. The provisional services dropped significantly. The study emphasizes the need for sustainable land use, restoration of degraded areas, and protection of mangrove ecosystem. This study offers insight for policy and planning, highlighting trade-offs in land transition and their socio-ecological impacts. For future studies, future assessment, we recommend a localized valuation method, which we didn't use. So yeah, thank you everyone. That's
Thank you, Mahi, for your nice presentation. Now I would like to invite MD Rubaid bin Abidin, Ummul Khair Salma Kea, and Jakia Jannat Fabiha to present their paper, Land Use and Land Cover Dynamics on Saint Martin Island, a spatio-temporal analysis of environmental change. I think they are not here. Oh, you are here. Okay. Everyone online or someone here? Okay. Let's give them a minute.
Assalamu alaikum. And very good afternoon to everyone. Myself Mohammad Rubaid bin Abidin, and I would like to present our paper Land Use and Land Covers Dynamics on Saint Martin Island, a spatio-temporal analysis of environmental changes. We all know that Saint Martin Island is our only coral island, and background of our study is relies on this island, and land surface temperature and land use land covers are key factor for urban landscape, with LST significantly affected that by changes these categories, and accurate assessment of these types, socio-economic and environmental consequences of LST changes can be directed into data-driven for policy makings. And here we go, our aims and objectives. Our aims and objectives, we aim to analyze land use, land cover changes on Saint Martin Island and their impact on land surface temperature from 1990 to 2024 using time series remote sensing data. And our objectives are to analyze LULC, land cover land changes, and to assess land surface temperature and NDVI changes for environmental monitoring. Here we go, our study area profile. It is on the Saint Martin Island. Here we go, our methodology. We used Landsat 5 and Landsat 8 imagery, and for LULC classification we used maximum likelihood classifications, and for forecasting the LULC trend we used long short-term memory. It is a RNN deep learning method. For calculating SST, here is the equation, and for NDVI we used near infrared and red. For data analysis we used ArcGIS and Jupyter Notebook. Here you go, the result section. These are the LULC map of Saint Martin Island from 1990 to 2024. These are the area of, we divided these into 5 land use categories: water bodies, settlement, barren land, agricultural land, and vegetations. And these are the areas to forecast LULC trend from the long short term methods. We find here the water bodies are almost negligible, and they are declining in 2050, and barren land are almost the same. There are vegetations are showing the same profiles to this, and these are the NDVI. normalized difference vegetation index for 1990. It's showing healthy vegetations, and 2000 noticeable decline from 2000 noticeable decline, and from post 2010 NDVI increased because of some areas and recovery, and some in 2020 to 2024 vegetation losses remained in coastal areas, while other regions higher NDVI values. Here we go, our land surface temperature profile. In 1990, it's showing higher temperatures, but it decreases slightly in 2000 because some expanding urbanizations. And 2020, it has been significantly reduced because of COVID-19, as we predict. In 2024, maximum at 39.79 degrees Celsius increased because of sharp rise of urbanizations. For this, we notice some environmental threats. These are rapid infrastructure development, marine ecosystem damage, decrease in arable lands, increasing salinity, lack of waste management, etc. And this is from us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. With this, we are done with the presentations for today. Now I would like to invite our panelists to discuss their reflections on the studies presented today in relation to the theme of this conference, spatial planning for just transition in Bangladesh, and the session of today, this session, which is spatial planning for regional, spatial and local areas. First of all, I would like to invite Dr. Sohail Amin, who is connected with us online, to discuss his reflections. Dr. Sohail Amin.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Perfect. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to discuss some excellent papers. Actually, it's been 16 years.
Can you be a little louder, please?
Urban planning, and I see some papers on spatial planning, heritage, and human geography is really intrigued me, and the diversity of the papers and the words. And to be honest, I'm very novice in this topic. I don't have enough knowledge on mangrove forest and internal migration, heritage conservation. But what I see, the interesting topic, and that can have a significant impact on policy implication on different aspects of urban planning. But from the technical part, I have some observed, I would say like this way, because when I see the first paper on mangrove forest, the authors, Mafrid, Haider, and they used the machine learning algorithm. So when I was seeing the data set for the training data, when we use the machine learning algorithm, so we have 3 sets of data: training, testing, and validation. And mainly we focus on big data because this is a matter of a lot of complexity when you go for the small data. But when I see the data set 50, we should be very careful to deal with small data set and apply the machine learning algorithm, because it may cause the overfitting of the training data, and that may be so much generalized, outperformed, poor performed, and sometimes you will find out if you draw the output of the training data distribution, you will find a more skewed distribution of the data set. So we should be very careful when we use the machine learning algorithm using a small data set. And that is my first observation on the paper on mangrove forest. Internal migration, to be honest, it's a very interesting paper. Yasin Ahmed, and it's a very interesting paper. They are talking about internal migration within the district. But we all know that the significant migration is mainly inter-district migration, mostly some big cities from the small cities. So how did the paper address this? It would be very nice and it would be very interactive if you focus on inter and inter-district migration. That would give you more understanding, not only the small segment of the migration within the district, but how it compared with the bigger scenario, the big picture. That may give you some policy identification, some policy application, this kind of things. And the heritage conservation, and the last actually heritage conservation, I was when I was urban planning student from 1998 to 2004, we also did some kind of field visit in different heritage sites. But we also did some works like we did, and I observed field visit, policy review, policy paper review, these kind of things. But still, I'm seeing the same pictures. To be honest, I would say what I did as a student like a long time ago. We see the same political influence. We see the lack of budget. We see the planning violation, this kind of thing, different encroachment of different industries, this kind of thing. So how we can overcome? What are the strategy that we can think about this instead of, okay, we find out the problem. You're talking about the improving infrastructure, you're talking about the maintaining the structure, heritage site, you're talking about the compensate the owners. How we can do this? So how can we get the money? We don't have the money. It's like a Bible. We don't have the money. So we need to find out the sources. Maybe we can find out some sources from different approaches. Like we can think about the philanthropic giving, some generous people around the world. We can think about communicating with them, how we can approach them. We can think about the listing the endangered sites. That could be approach. That could be the solutions. So we know all problems. I told you because I was student from urban planning, so I know what are the problems. But we need to find out the physical solution that can overcome these problems. And the last two papers, actually, to be honest, I'm very novice in these two topics, in ecosystem, land use cover, changes. From a novice audience, I would say like this way, when we do some research, especially when we present our research work in front of audience, we always need to focus on, okay, there are a diversified audience in this room. So we need to see how we can, okay, these two people reminds me Michael Sanders. He is the director of King's College, London, School of Government. So when in a session, he told that we researcher focus on what we are saying instead of how people will enjoy our papers or enjoy our sessions. So it's very much technical. You analyze the land use. I really appreciate that. You analyze the changes of land use in Sundarban mangrove forest and Saint Martin. Very interesting, but try to find out how you can communicate these analytical outputs with the audience. And what is your message? Instead of just analyzing the land use, we really need to find out how you can engage with the audience and how you can give a solution to policymakers. And solution doesn't mean theoretical solution. Solution means that you need to be really focused on the practical solution, the impactful solution that can give you better understanding and maybe the effective communication with the real people, the policymakers, and who will deal with this kind of problems. So that's all from my perspective, my understanding of the 5 papers, but these are all excellent papers. And thank you very much for inviting me. It's an honor to return to revisit urban planning after 16 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sohail Bhai, for your insightful discussion and your guidelines for our young authors. It's really a great deal for us and for also our authors. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Ashrafuzzaman Pramanik Bhai, who is present here, to discuss his reflections.
Hello. Thank you very much. I would like to give a special thanks to all presenters who presented on 5 different topics. Really, they have done really good. But don't take it otherwise, please, if I make some comments on your papers. So this is just your journey, so we can discuss on it one by one. From my side, all papers are very excellent. They have done very good, but some specific comments or suggestion you can take from my side. If I talk about the first presenter regarding the mangrove forest, using the integrated machine learning approach, remote sensing. So in your presentation, say you have mentioned one objective to estimate economic value, but when you go for your findings, like something like the analysis, then you can see the economic value that should be more interpreted. So you have presented the information generally, and you have also mentioned some policy implication. There are a lot of policy implication, but these policy implication are not aligned to your findings, field data, at the same time with your literature review. So I strongly suggest you to improve your, for the discussion part at the same time regarding your conclusion, so that you can align to with your policy. If you can, you cannot mention the policy. You can make some guidelines, or you can make some, what kind of recommendations. If you go for the policy, you have to make for the data triangulations within the mixed method approach. So, but the first presenter, of course, they have two presenters in this topic. They have done very good job. And for the second topic, I'd like to say it's also a very interesting topic regarding the internal migration. Same to my Dr. Sohail Amin. He has already discussed about the topic for the inter-district concept. So from my side, you have selected the Bogra or something like that. So why Bogra? We need to focus. Why the selection the Bogra? You have selected only for this purpose. And then sources, way of collecting data need to be explained or further interpreted. And each and every figure a table should be, you have to mention the sources for a table, for a figure, any kind of illustration, that there should be some sources. So, but it can be more thoughtful. It can be more interpreted regarding your functional determinations regarding a regionalization approach. So, from my side, the way of the sources of data and then the need to be explained through the inter-district concept or regional concept. And if you consider about the third presenter, part topic on the heritage conservation in Narayanganj, strategic approach for conserving and promoting heritage sites. It's also a very interesting topic, the main thing. But though it's a very interesting topic, but we're little bit disappointed in your first objective. They have mentioned to analyze. Why we think about the analyze? At first we have to think about to identify, to find out, and there are some research questions. Why? So if we go for the analyze at first, then that means you are already been predetermined something. That means from my side, that should be to identify first, to find out. Then you can go for to explore, to analyze, to suggest, to provide some guideline. In this way, from my consideration. So sources of data, same things, and you have already prepared a land use map. If it is your map, then I have nothing to say. But if it is not, then how you have collected the land use map? So you have to mention who have prepared this land use map. And then SWOT analysis, you also been strength, weakness, and you did not mention the sources of data. The data you have already been interpreted in your SWOT analysis. Then how the data has been collected, the little bit missing. We didn't get the clear idea from that SWOT analysis. And same thing, general policy suggestion, it's not related to your findings. So we have to curtail down the policies and make the policies relevant to your findings. So, and we can, same thing we have mentioned here, to guideline, to recommend some suggestion, something like that. And the fourth topic is also interesting. It's ecosystem services in the southern part of our country, Sundarban mangrove region. They have done very good job, good presentation. But from my side, when you consider about the valuation of the ecosystem services, that means it means something. Valuation of ecosystem services, that means you have to calculate something, you have to use some methods for the interpretation, for calculation, for estimation, and your discussion side to make your conclusion that should be aligned with your literature review. So literature review and then discussion part need to be more emphasis in your research paper. And then the last one is last presenter, land use and land cover census related to remote sensing, GIS remote sensing. In that topic, from I have to say, we can see the more studies on this topic from I think from my graduation, when I was in graduate level, and then say one or two of friends they were taking the same topic. Okay, so in this topic, I want to see some extraordinary, or some after 15 or 20 years later, then I want to see some extraordinary things from that topic. So, but I appreciate your topic. There should be some more interpretation, and you have mentioned the environmental sensors. The environmental parameter need to be specified in your statement, or the problem statement, or in your research gap, or in your introductory discussion. Then you can focus on your main objectives. So thank you very, very much for all the presenters. Thank you, Dr. Shariful, to say something about on the 5 interesting topics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ashraf bhai.
I just want to add a few words. See, the topic today is regional and spatial planning, spatial areas, planning for spatial and regional areas. So my take is, we have seen 5 papers here, and all of them are actually methodologically and analytically focused. And probably we must focus on the theoretical parts of the topics. I mean, when you have data, you have remote sensing images, you have machine learning capabilities and everything, then it's really easy for you to dig more into theoretical perspectives on the topics. That means, for example, region. What is the region? Region is something which connects multiple cities, and probably region offers services to other areas, other cities or other regions. So given that the basic tenet of the characteristic of region and special areas such as Cox's Bazar, so we need to see how those regions or special areas can offer services in a more profitable way, more economically sustainable way. And probably this is our time to dig more into the those theoretical aspects to see how actually the characteristic nature of some areas can offer services in a more profitable or sustainable way. So I would like to invite all of you to take a look, all of us actually, including myself, to take deeper look into theoretical aspects of regional and special areas so that we can come up into things that help us to become economically prosperous country. Thank you for listening to me. Now I would like to invite our chair of this session. All right. We would like to take some questions. I'm sorry. If you have some questions, please shoot. Yeah, please go ahead.
My question is to the last presenter. Basically, I was wondering what kind of methodology you used to find the land surface temperature, because there's a lot of variations between the temperatures of different months. And another thing that I was confused about is that you mentioned that in the year 2020 there was a significant drop in the temperature. I'm not really sure how you managed to find that, and if you could please explain further, like what kind of mechanism was led to that drastic decrease of temperature. Thank you.
MD Rubat.
মাইক্রোফোনটা একটু দেখেন, কাজ করছে না।
Push the button.
কর্ডলেসটা নিয়ে যেতে পারেন, একটা কর্ডলেস দেন।
Hello.
Can I get the question again, please?
My first question was, how did you collect the land surface temperatures? Like, was it an average of the entire year, or was it a specific month that you focused on? And my second question was about how you determined that the temperature had a drastic drop in 2020 because of COVID. Thank you.
First one is we have collected Landsat imagery, Landsat 8 and 9, and we we did this by using Google Earth Engine, and we specifically put in that point, and they by those algorithm they average the whole temperature of the whole month. And second question is, according to our findings, we get this value, and we assume that due to COVID-19 and there are some inactive situations then, and this was just assumption, but the findings we get from the analysis of our data.
Thank you, Rubat.
Can I have one? Thank you. Thank you, Sharif Bhai. এটা ছোট ছোট দুটো কোশ্চেন ইভেন ইটস অ্যান ইন্টারন্যাশনাল কনফারেন্স সো আই এম গোয়িং উইথ বাংলা সো দ্যাট আওয়ার ফেলো স্টুডেন্টস দে ক্যান অ্যান্সার প্রম্পটলি আমার প্রথম প্রশ্নটা হচ্ছে বিফোর হুইচ উইল ফলো সাম হাউস প্রোটোকল উই আর রানিং অফ টাইম of course we'll listen from our honorable chair and after which we'll have some crest handover ceremony for our guest on the dais after which if you allow if you are willing we can have a group photo all together then we'll follow the tea session and we'll join in the closing session in the other building বুঝা গেছে তো তো সেটা শেষ করে আমি একটু দুটো প্রশ্ন চাই প্রথমটা হচ্ছে কি আমাদের দুটো এক লাইনের উত্তর একটা হচ্ছে মাফরিদ তোমার কাছ থেকে যেমন তোমার সেশনটা ছিল যে ম্যানগ্রোভ ফরেস্ট নিয়ে এখানে একটা বিষয় ছিল যে ভ্যালুয়েশন অফ সুন্দরবন ম্যানগ্রোভ ফরেস্ট সো এই সিস্টেমটা অ্যাডপ্ট করে মেশিন লার্নিং অ্যান্ড রিমোট সেন্সিং ইউজ করে ভ্যালুয়েশন অফ সুন্দরবন ম্যানগ্রোভ ফরেস্ট কোনো ভ্যালুয়েশনের ফিগারে আমরা আসতে পেরেছি কিনা বা এটা আমাদের কোনো ফিগার আসা সম্ভব হয়েছিল কিনা এটা আমাদের স্কোপ ছিল কিনা এক নাম্বার আর ছোট্ট একটা প্রশ্ন করে যাই সেটা হচ্ছে যে আমাদের থার্ড যে উপস্থাপনা ছিল হেরিটেজ কনজারভেশন ইন নারায়ণগঞ্জ স্ট্র্যাটেজিক অ্যাপ্রোচ ফর কনজার্ভিং অ্যান্ড প্রমোটিং হেরিটেজ সাইটস তো এখানে আমি আমাদের অথরদের কাছে বা যারা এটা করেছেন স্টাডিটা তাদের কাছে জানতে চাই যে নারায়ণগঞ্জে আসলে আমরা কোনো কনক্লুশনে আসতে পারছি বা আপনাদের স্টাডিতে কি নারায়ণগঞ্জে কয়টা সাইট নিয়ে আমরা কাজ করেছেন 5টা 10টা 15টা 20টা 8টা 2টা এটা কি আপনাদের স্টাডির কোনো পার্ট ছিল কিনা তাহলে আমি ব্যক্তিগতভাবে জানতে চাই যে আসলে নারায়ণগঞ্জে কয়টা সাইট হেরিটেজ সাইট হিসেবে আপনারা আইডেন্টিফাই করতে পেরেছেন থ্যাংক ইউ সো মাচ প্রথমে মাফরিদ
ধন্যবাদ আমরা যেটা করেছি সেটা হচ্ছে কার্বন স্টকের যে পটেনশিয়াল আছে সেটাকে হচ্ছে ইকোনমিক ভ্যালুতে কনভার্ট করেছি সো আমরা আসলে এট দ্য ফাইনালি হচ্ছে আমরা একটা ইকোনমিক ভ্যালুয়েশন পাইছি প্রত্যেকটা ম্যানগ্রোভ স্পিসিসের জন্য সো এটাই আমাদের আউটকাম ছিল আর কি ইন টোটাল করা নেই জাস্ট হচ্ছে যদি আমি সুন্দরীটা বলি সেটা হচ্ছে নিয়ার হ্যাঁ নিয়ার হচ্ছে 700 মিলিয়ন
ইউএসডি or বাংলা
ইউএসডি
700 million US dollar
yes
per year
yes
thank you
হ্যালো হ্যাঁ তো নারায়ণগঞ্জ আমাদের হচ্ছে যে ডিটেল এরিয়া প্ল্যান যেটা আছে রাজুকের সেখানেই টোটাল 74 হেরিটেজ সাইটের কথা বলা আছে তার মধ্যে নারায়ণগঞ্জ ডিস্ট্রিক্টের জন্য 5টা সাইটের কথা বলা আছে আর আমরা হচ্ছে এই 5টা সাইটকে নিয়েছি তার কারণ হচ্ছে তাদের খুব ক্লোজ প্রক্সিমিটিতে অবস্থিত এবং নারায়ণগঞ্জের ওই এরিয়াটা হচ্ছে
Now I would like to invite our respected chair, Dr. Abul Kalam sir, to discuss his reflections of this session.
ধন্যবাদ সম্মানিত মডারেটর দুজন সম্মানিত তিনজন প্যানেলিস্ট এবং অনেক অথর্স 5টা পেপারের উপরে এবং যারা আমরা এখানে অডিয়েন্স আছি সবাইকে শুভেচ্ছা জানাচ্ছি আমি পেপারের আলোচনায় যাব না ইতিমধ্যে আমরা মনে হয় বেশ কিছু আলোচনা শুনেছি দুজন প্যানেলিস্ট যারা আছেন তারা রিফ্লেকশন দিয়েছেন পেপারের উপরে ইন্টারেস্টিং হচ্ছে যে এই সেশনে যারা অথার্স যারা প্রেজেন্টার্স সবাই ভেরি ভেরি ইয়াং দ্যাটস এনকারেজিং যে একটা সম্পূর্ণভাবেই ইয়াংদের কাছ থেকে একটি সেশন এই সেমিনারে ইনক্লুড করা হয়েছে এরকম হয়তো আরও আছে বাট এখানে এবং ইন্টারেস্টিংলি এটা একটা মিক্সড আমি সেশন বলবো 5টা পেপার 5টা ধরনের হয়তো দুটো ভাগ করা যায় দুটা সুন্দরবনের উপরে সুন্দরবন ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট রিজন হিসেবে আমাদের জন্য আপাতত আমরা ওখান থেকে হয়তো অনেক উপার্জন করি না কিন্তু এটা একটি দেশের জন্য কতটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ সেটা আমরা খুব অনুধাবন করি আমরা বুঝতে পারি আমরা পৃথিবীর মানচিত্রের দিকে দেখলে বিভিন্ন দেশের যে ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক সেটাকে যদি আমরা লক্ষ্য করি সেদিকে তাহলে বুঝতে পারি যে ম্যানগ্রোভ ফরেস্ট বা একটা ফরেস্টের কত গুরুত্বপূর্ণ বিশেষ করে বাংলাদেশের মতন দেশে যেখানে আমাদের স্মল এরিয়া কিন্তু হিউজ পপুলেশন সেরকম একটি দেশে যেখানে আমাদের ফরেস্ট এরিয়া খুবই কম আমাদের ন্যাচারাল এরিয়া স্পেশাল এরিয়া এগুলো অনেক কম। সেই দিক বিবেচনায় সুন্দরবনের উপরে দুটো পেপার অবশ্যই টেকনিক্যাল দিকটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, কারণ আমরা বর্তমান সময়ে অবশ্যই টেকনিক্যাল মেথডস যেগুলো সেগুলো তো ব্যবহার করতেই হবে। এটা একটা ভালো দিক যে রিসার্চার কতটুকু সাকসেসফুলি কতটা স্ট্রংলি ব্যবহার করতে পেরেছেন মেথডস থিওরিজ, দ্যাটস নট so important to me right at this moment, but they have started their journey. That's important, and I'm sure that someday they will be very good, strong, very good researchers in this field. মাইগ্রেশনের কাজটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ, যদিও অল্প কাভার করা হয়েছে, কিন্তু আমরা জানি যে বাংলাদেশে ইন্টারনাল মাইগ্রেশন, রুরাল আরবান টু আরবান মাইগ্রেশন এবং আরবান টু আরবান মাইগ্রেশন ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট. Not only for that this is a number only in terms of population distribution, but we have used responsibilities what we can do with these migrants. So we know we have not only beggars, we have people living on the streets, people living in the slums, and a very significant number of them are migrants. Some way or other, they are migrants. So it's important that we study thoroughly, we take responsibilities for what we can do with these migrants. These urban areas, the cities, the municipalities, they have a huge responsibility in this regard to be migrant friendly. We tell, okay, human friendly city. Sometimes we have seminars on how we can be a migrant-friendly city. So we have huge responsibility in that. So the studies like this will help us to adopt policies, adopt measures, and prepare rules to help out these migrants from their present situation. How they can recover, how can they make positive changes in their life. So we need to help them, the cities, the nations, we have responsibility. And our other two papers, St. Martin is very important, and we have understood this year how important it is. Not that we are we want to visit this island, this rare island, in fact, the coral reef islands. It is important because of its geopolitical location. We want to go there. We want to enjoy the environment of St. Martin, but for some reasons we are not being able to. It has its physical consequences. Also geopolitical sides of consideration. But to me, island, I don't know why we are not being able to maximize the time, that is the duration for visiting St. Martin. This year it has been minimized to only 2 months. That raises question to me also. We should think how we can maximize time, and also how we can make arrangement for visitors to see the island, and at the same time we can protect the island from ruining. আমার কাছে আমরা তো এখানে আমি আবার ইংরেজিতে চলে গেছি বাংলা থেকে, পুরোটাই আমি আসলে বাংলায় থাকতে চেয়েছিলাম। আমার সম্প্রতি দু একটা ভিজিট থেকে আমার কাছে মনে হয়েছে এরকম সিমিলার এরিয়াতে ওসব জায়গাতে কিন্তু ওরা দেখার সুযোগ করে দেয়, সো দ্যাট আমরা ভিজিটাররা যাতে ক্ষতি না করতে পারি সেইটার অ্যারেঞ্জমেন্টটা করে। তো আমার মনে হয়েছিল যে আমি যখন এটার প্রথম এই ধরনের উদ্যোগটা সরকার থেকে আসে, মনে হয়েছিল যে এই বিষয়ে আসলে কিছু করা যায় কি না। আমি আসলে ইনফ্যাক্ট বিআইপির দু একজনের সাথে কথা বলেছিলাম যে বিআইপিতে আমরা কোনো কিছু আলোচনার সুযোগ করে দিতে পারি কিনা, যে এটাকে কিভাবে আমরা দেখার সুযোগ করতে পারি, কিন্তু অ্যাট দি সেম টাইম আমরা আইল্যান্ডের ক্ষতি করবো না। কারণ আমরা আইল্যান্ডে নেমে যাই, আমরা তো না নামলে পরে আমাদের যদি ইনস্ট্রাকশন থাকে যে আমরা নামবো না, আমরা জাস্ট সিম্পলি চারিদিক দিয়ে হেঁটে দেখবো। তো হাঁটার অ্যারেঞ্জমেন্ট আমার কাছে মনে হয়েছে, আমি ক্যালিফোর্নিয়াতে ভিজিট করেছিলাম, এখন সান ফ্রান্সিসকো থেকে শুরু করে একদম ইয়ে পর্যন্ত, প্রায় মেক্সিকান বর্ডার পর্যন্ত। তো ওসব এরিয়াতে কিন্তু কোরাল রিফ এরিয়া আছে, কিন্তু ওরা কিন্তু দেখা থেকে কাউকে বিরত করে না, কিন্তু কাউকে ওটা ইন্টারভেন করতে দেয় না, যাতে ওটা ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত না হয়। তো আমাদের পরের সেশনটা অত্যন্ত ইম্পর্টেন্ট। আমি এখানে শেষ করছি, সবাইকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ।
Thank you, everybody. With this, I am declaring the closure of this session. Let's enjoy the rest of the programs of this conference. Let's go to the dais, to take a photograph,
আমরা একটু স্যারদেরকে তাদের ক্রেসটা একটু ফরমালি হ্যান্ড ওভার করবো ডায়াসে গিয়ে, এবং তারপরে সবাই আপনারা মঞ্চে আসবেন, আমরা একটা গ্রুপ ছবি তুলে রাখবো ফর দিস সেশন। এবং এটা শেষ করে আমরা কুইক টি সেশন কমপ্লিট করে ফাইনাল সেশন জয়েন করবো পাশের বিল্ডিংয়ের নিচতলাতে, গ্রাউন্ড ফ্লোরে। ধন্যবাদ।